graphing is nice, but in order to get our solution from graphing, our graphs have to be perfect, and the intersection has to be a nice point, right? It doesn't work if the point is like -3/4, 1/2. That we're not going to see that on our graphs. So it is not 100%. What we need to do then is have some other resources for solving these that will give us the correct equation, or the correct solution, even if it's not nice. So one option is the substitution method. So this is a method for solving systems of equations. By substituting equations within one another. So, substitution method, you are going to take one equation and substitute it in the other. Step one is to pick one equation and solve for either the x or the y. So we pick one equation and one variable that we're going to solve for. Step two is going to be to substitute this expression in the other equation and solve for the variable. So when we substitute it in, we're going to be left with an equation that only has one variable in it. So we will be able to solve. Step three, we will take our answer and put it back into the equation in step one. So we are going to substitute again. We'll substitute our answer back into the equation from step one and solve for the other variable. Let's take a look. So step one, we pick one of the equations and solve for one of the variables. If I take the first equation, it's already y equals. So I've already solved, that equation is already solved for y. What we are going to do now is substitute it into the other equation. So the second equation is y equals 2x minus 5. But the first one tells me y is 4x minus 1. So I'm going to take that expression, the 4x minus 1, and I am going to replace my y. We know y is the same as that, so instead of y, I'm going to write 4x minus 1. Okay. I don't want to move on until everyone's clear on what I did here. Have I lost anyone on this step? So I took what y was equal to in the first equation and I subbed it into the second one. Now we are solving this equation. I noticed on the last test there are a few of you that are still struggling with solving equations. If that's the case, it might help you if you draw like a vertical line down the side or down the middle. And so you know, if you're moving something to the other side, you have to change the sign. So if I want to move this 2x over, it's positive, so I have to subtract it. So if you're one of those people that's missing terms or dropping negatives, this might help you. So then I have 2x minus 1 equals negative 5. How would I move my minus 1 over? Add 1. So 2x equals negative 4. And then final step is divide by 2. So that tells me x is negative 2. Once I have my x, I am subbing that back into the second, or well, either equation. But let's just go with the first one. So now, my first equation was y equals 4x minus 1. But what is x equal to? So I'm replacing my x with a negative 2. Okay. Then we're just simplifying. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. For your final answer, I want an ordered pair. Ordered pairs are alphabetical. X, then y. So the x was negative 2, and the y is negative 9. So final answer, negative 2, negative 9. Did I lose anyone on that? Let's do some more. I look at number 2. Okay, in the first equation, I already know that y is equal to 6x. So I'm going to sub that into the second equation. So my second equation is the 2x plus 3y equals negative 20. But I know y is negative 6x. Sorry, positive 6x. So I'm replacing my y with the 6x. So I took the first one, it told me what y was equal to. I used that to replace the y in the second equation. Have I lost anyone on that step? If you are struggling, you can draw that vertical line to help you keep your sides separate. So this one we have 2x plus 3 times 6x is 18x. These are on the same side, so we just add them together. 2x plus 18x is 20x. So then we divide by 20. And we get x equals negative 1. Once you have x, we can put that back into either equation. I'm just going to go with the first one. We knew y was equal to 6x. So if x is negative 1, y is 6 times negative 1, or negative 6. Final answer is an ordered pair, x comma y. So my x is negative 1, y was negative 6. Questions? Let's do another one together. So number 3. First equation tells me y is equal to x plus 9. So I am going to use that and replace the y in the second equation. So the second equation is 3x plus 8, but what am I putting in place of my y? X plus 9. So the first equation told me what y is equal to, so I replace the y in the second one. So if we distribute, we get 3x plus 8x plus 72 equals -5. Again, if you are struggling, draw that vertical line down. The 3x and the 8x are on the same side, so I don't have to subtract them. You only subtract if you're moving across the equal sign. So we just add those. So that's 11x plus 72 equals -5. Subtract my 72. So 11x is equal to -77. Divide by 11. And we get -7. Once you have x, what do you do with that?
Put it back in.
We have to plug it back in order to get y. You can do either equation, but it's probably easier to put it into the first one, because that tells me y is equal to x plus 9, but my x is -7. So -7 plus 9 is 2. So my final answer, x, then y, -7, 2. I would like you guys to try number 4. Alright, so the first equation is x equals. So let's replace the x in the second one. So the x is 2 times, we're replacing x with 4y plus 7 minus 6y equals 12. Right? So all of this is on the same side, so I'm just working this out. Distribute my 2, so we get 8y plus 14 minus 6y equals 12. 8y minus 6y is 2y plus 14 equals 12. To move the 14 over, we subtract it. So we get 2y equals -2. Divide by 2, and y is -1. Once you have y, you can plug it into the first equation. First one, x is 4 times y plus 7, but y is -1. So 4 times -1 is -4. -4 plus 7 is 3. When you write your order of pairs, x comes first, so it's 3, -1. Some of you got that one, some of you are still struggling, so let's keep working. Are there any questions on that example? Okay, let's try number 3, or, sorry, not number 3, number 5 together. This one is a little bit different. Because, does one of my equations start x equals or y equals? No. So we are going to have to solve one of them. Out of these 4 variables, I have 2x, y, 5x, 3y. Which one would you think would be the easiest to get by itself? Yeah, I would say this y, because it's just a 1y. So if I'm just looking at that equation, I'm going to take that first equation, the 2x plus y equals -2. If I want to get y by itself, I subtract my 2x. So y is -2 minus 2x. I got that from the first equation. so I'm subbing it into the second one. So the second one is 5x plus 3 times y, but we just found that y is -2 minus 2x equals -8. So if we distribute, we get 5x minus 6 minus 6x equals -8. And this is all on one side, so we're just combining like terms. 5x minus 6x is -x minus 6 equals -8. We add over our 6. -x equals -2. Divide -1. And x is 2. We can plug that in anywhere, but I think the easiest would be this equation where we already solved for y. We said y is -2 minus 2x, but x is 2. So that's -2 minus 4, or -6. So my equation is 2, -6. Okay. We are going to keep working on this tomorrow, but I'm going to stop here for today and give you guys a chance to work individually.